brand new episode of Think Out Cloud, the show where we talk anything and everything about cloud. I'm your host, Yutuc, and I have with me the director and slash host for Think Out Cloud, the man behind the show actually, Mr. Jumpy Santos.
Hi everyone. This is a good day for us to talk about professional services and what can it do to our businesses and what can it be. What are the benefits and advantage of having it? In today's episode, we have our special guest, Mr. Carlo Encinas of IPC. Hi, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi.
Thank you for having us today, and
Sure.
in spite of your very busy schedule, you still found time to grace the show. Talking about Salesforce Professional Services, perhaps you could give us, for those of us watching who may need some information, what Salesforce is and what benefits it gives to clients and to enterprises, to companies, or to any entity in general. Perhaps give us an information about what Salesforce is.
Yes.
Okay, so Salesforce is more than just a CRM, more than just a platform. It is a customer success platform. Most people get lost with the name Salesforce because they think it's only about
sales. Correct.
But in reality, it is a customer success platform which connects your customers to your organization, including to your other channel and partners. Right now, Salesforce does have about 7 different clouds. They have Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Community Cloud, Analytics, App, and even IoT Cloud.
Okay, so it's giving a lot of intelligence to what an enterprise really does day in and day out.
It's basically a way for you to interact with your customers better than it used to. So it's more than just a CRM now.
So, with that being said, what role does IPC Professional Services play for Salesforce in general?
Okay, well, first, IPC is the only reseller in the country for Salesforce.
Okay.
We're a premier partner of Salesforce, and our relationship has been with Salesforce for about almost 9 years now, if I'm not mistaken. Well before I came into IPC about 4 years ago.
Okay.
So we started as a referral partner, and then we became a consulting partner, and then we started eventually growing our business within Salesforce. Last year, we got appointed as the Salesforce University Training Delivery Center.
Okay.
I think we're one of 3 in Asia Pacific that does that. So we do offer training services that are accredited by
So
Salesforce.
it's a really end-to-end solution when it comes to...
Yes.
Well, in terms of Salesforce, let's just say I'm an existing Salesforce customer. I am very happy with it. And what can be done with it? What does IPC as a Salesforce Professional Services platform do to an existing enterprise that to take advantage or do more with the Salesforce instance that I have?
Well, first, regardless of whether it's IPC or not, you have to look at your business and what really is your objective.
Right.
So most of the time, companies do invest in their IT spending because they have certain business problems that they want to address.
Right.
Some of their challenges are opportunity in pipeline management. Some of them are electronic campaigns or digital marketing. Some of them are about customer service.
Right.
So they look at what's available out there, solutions that are available out there in the market.
So it starts with something like consulting and all of that.
Yeah. Just by recommending, or sometimes not even recommending, you're doing consulting already.
Right,
So
right.
In certain situations, part of consulting is to also say that you probably don't need this.
Right.
You might be better off with something that's simple,
Right.
and then grow with that. And then when your need becomes much bigger than what you're currently using, then maybe it's time to move on to a much robust application or system.
Right. But and in terms of appreciating needing professional services, if we compare it to a car, for example, a stock car is fine, right? But you can always take advantage of options wherein it will increase the performance of the car and make it work better for you. Is it comparable to
a certain extent? Yes. At the start pa lang, when you go into a dealership, people already, one person will already approach you and tell you, are you looking for a car? Are you what kind of family do you have? Are you single? Are you this? Are you that? And they're gonna recommend a certain type of car that fits your need.
And
So,
that's
And that's already consulting at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point because some might be thinking that Salesforce is an inadequate solution. What you're actually trying to do is make the most out of that
Yeah,
solution.
and there are several editions of Salesforce that you can actually use, starting from Group Edition, Professional, Enterprise Unlimited, and Performance Edition.
Right. And you
have
will-
those, yeah.
And you will help them go through that motion
Yeah.
of discovering this and that, right?
Mhm.
And we'll reach their gap or their needs.
Correct. Because in terms of their needs, that's a good point because their needs today might not be their needs for tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, because the main reason why you want systems like this or applications like this is because you want your business to grow.
Yes.
What you were doing 3 years ago may not necessarily be the same now
Same,
because your
yes.
business have grown substantially.
Right.
You may have more people on board. You may have much more like complicated process. You're dealing with much more complicated situations. So you need you need tools. And at the end of the day, it all revolves around three things: the people, process, and technology.
Yeah.
I like
Yes.
that. People, process,
So it's
and
And it's not a new like thing. It has been there.
Right.
And when you have those 3 things working together, that's where innovation can happen.
right. So your role there is
Yeah.
to help stitch together, right?
Yeah. So for the most part, when we do implementations, we're responsible for the technology because that's what we carry. We're not part of the customer's organization, so they do have their process, but we do have people that are part of the project that helps with the process. Now, on the people part is mostly on the change management side of things because it's one thing to implement a system. It's another different thing to use it for them to use it
Okay.
after going live and then after 6 months, right?
Okay, so let's put it on another perspective. Let's say I want to do it, and I think
Which-
I need to do to engage your services in terms not just of consultancy, but helping me do more out of what I have in Salesforce. How do I make that self-assessment on whether I need to do it?
So
When do I start? And
if you're typically an existing Salesforce customer, more often than not, you're already talking to an account executive. There's already a person that's managing the relationship with you.
right,
So any requirements, any additional support that you need,
Right.
you can force it through that person. But as a paying customer of Salesforce, you're also entitled to some level of support, of course,
Correct.
depending on what packages or services you got from them. So from there, they can also make assessment on your typical usage.
Okay.
Sometimes you might be raising tickets to them and they will tell you, okay, this is not a feature that's activated for you. You may want to
Okay.
consult your reseller
Okay.
or your vendor for help on activating this.
Okay.
Now, for a new customer or for a prospect, let's say, for a potential customer that's looking for a new platform, a new CRM. Well, we do also have our salespeople, of course, and they can always reach us at salesteam@ipc.ph.
Okay, and what's good about your guys is that they really studied and they really honed their skills specifically for this type of skill set,
Yeah,
this type
so
of service.
right now, I believe we're the largest group with certified professionals in the country. We have about 30 people under Salesforce implementation with about 50 certifications across.
What?
I mean, aside from consultancy, as like what we have discussed a while ago, what are the other scope of the IPC professional services? I mean,
Right.
aside from customization, consultancy, what are the other scope of the professional services?
So we do end-to-end implementation from provisioning up to the time that we go live. We also do some ad hoc implementation, such as enhancements or certain features that you need to activate. But it's not as easy as just turning something on.
Yes, yes.
For the most part, it's driven by a need in your business, which more often than not includes a change in your process.
Okay.
So it's marrying the two kasi to make sure that, okay, if I turn this on, would you use it? Number one. And if I turn this on, would it actually address your need?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Which means that not every feature is relevant.
Yes.
Yes.
What's good about the platform is that you buy it, you pay one type of fee, but most of the features are there.
Okay.
And it's up to you whether you want to turn it on or not. Now, when you jump from Service Cloud to Sales Cloud or Sales Cloud to Service Cloud, that's
Right.
a different, that's a different like parang application, if you will.
Okay.
In addition to those kinds of things, we also do data management or data
Data
migration.
management. Yeah.
We also do integration.
Integration, that's a good question because a lot of our end users, a lot of those watching are also interested on working around Salesforce, not just the CRM tool, but interconnecting the services that the company
Yeah.
uses, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you guys can do that too, right?
Yes, when we go into a certain organization, especially the large ones, the message is that we're not there to replace whatever you have, whatever investment you've made. What we're looking at is going to be like, okay, so how do we harmonize? How do we have this coexist? Because SAP or other platforms may not necessarily be the customer-facing ones.
Right.
But Salesforce is a customer success platform. Therefore, it is one of the best applications that you can use for your customer-facing need. Is going to be your front end.
Okay.
So, and we have implementations wherein Salesforce is the main, parang, like the main interface for their customers and other partners, while it connects to the other back-end systems to complete the entire process.
Right. And in terms of the services, like it's like what Jumpy was mentioning, do you also offer the initial training or the knowledge transfer?
Yeah, so when we implement Salesforce, the way we implement Salesforce is that it's design-driven. So what that means
Design-driven.
is, yeah, what that means is every time that we call it confidence room pilot. So when we implement Salesforce, we sit down with the customer and we show them what the system is about. So typically,
Even before they say, I want to do this.
yes. So typically, in the way it was being done before is that, okay, I'll sit down with you. I'll talk about your we'll talk about your
The
process.
product.
I'll gather the requirements,
Right.
and then
The
you'll see
traditional way of scoping.
and you'll see the system. You'll see the system during UAT. Right. And when you look at it, it's there.
Right.
You're surprised. Oh, this is how it looked like.
Right.
But the way we do that is on day one, you see the system right away. We show you how it works out of the box, and then we ask you, what else do you need to hear?
Okay.
So on the
So-
back end, you also have project managers.
Yes, yes. And so once that session is done, once
Right.
that demo session is done, we go into prototyping mode. Because the
Okay.
moment we've gathered that requirement, that's going to be our inputs now to the prototyping part.
Yeah.
And then on the next day or next session,
Right.
we'll show them, here's what we've done, 70% of it.
Mm.
So dun pa lang, at the start of the
Do-
implementation, they're already like being soft trained eh.
Can you also show the output somehow of, or say the expectation
Yeah.
that they can get?
Yeah, that's the advantage of working with a platform like Salesforce because it's there. It's it can work out of the box,
Okay.
and it can also be as flexible as you want it to be.
Okay.
So in some situations during when we do pre-sales or when we do
Okay.
like demos with our customer or with our potential clients, like on the fly, we would show them how to create a workflow.
Like also, do you also do things like they don't have an actual software, and can you help them build it for them or
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
use of the existing marketplace that Salesforce has?
Yes.
And then configure it and attach it to their instance.
So it's good. It's good that you mentioned about the marketplace. There is actually a marketplace of applications for Salesforce called App Exchange.
Okay.
It's like the App Store.
Okay.
So when you go in there, there's like thousands of applications already built for different types of solutions. Some of them are free, some of them are not, and they're built by ISVs or mga vendors, independent solution vendors.
Right.
And it's all working on the same platform.
Okay.
Yeah, so you may have a Salesforce automation, an SFA, running there, and you may want, let's say, an ability to also send invoices. Which out of the box Salesforce doesn't do, but there are apps that you can use for that. So the moment you close from lead
Okay.
to opportunity and to a realized revenue, then you're going to send an invoice.
Okay.
Diba? Send an invoice and then directly bill the customer.
How about on the side of defending the additional cost in terms of the business benefits? Do you also give them that information that if you engage our professional services, you also get to have this potential in terms of efficiency and all of
Yeah.
those?
So, typically, applications like this, siguro let me talk about the ecosystem of the platform as well. So, apart from it being flexible as well, there are also parang certain like credentials and qualifications you have to go through before you can actually implement something like this. And that's where our certification actually comes in. So
Your breadth of knowledge when it comes
yes,
to...
yes. And you have to keep in mind that Salesforce does 3 major releases every year. That's also one of the plus advantage of Salesforce being a multi-tenant cloud environment, because you don't have to worry about system maintenance and updates and patches. Diba?
And it comes with their subscription.
And it comes for free, so you don't have to worry about it. It happens 3 times a year, and every time that there's a new release, our consultants also have to go through the same test 3 times a year. So every year we take 3 tests, and every year we review. So and some of our consultants does have like multiple certifications. So imagine how many tests they take every year. With
so
that
your
said,
guys know their craft very, very well.
with that said, one can also implement Salesforce without any certification, because there's also tons of resources available out there. However, you have to keep in mind that when you implement certain solutions like this, more often than not, it's once or twice lang ginagawa. Diba? You don't do it every month, every year. Right.
So it's
an investment that you have to consider whether you want to, train your existing people,
or you just outsource
so that they can implement it.
Or outsource it to those guys who really know what they're doing.
Correct. But there's also that aspect of us training our customers so that they can administer it. The administration is different from development din kasi.
So it includes knowledge transfer also.
Yes. So when we release a working system for them, at the end of that cycle, we tell them, okay, so this is how to administer it. This is how you create users. This is how you deactivate them. This is how you make some changes when this error shows up. This is what you do. Yeah.
How about for those who are? I'm sure you will get these questions of, my Salesforce instance is good. The professional services that you offer made my instance much better. But the burning point on my guys are always on the road and they need to have mobile applications.
Sure.
Do you also develop those types of applications?
So, as a Salesforce customer, as a paying Salesforce customer, you also have access to Salesforce One, their free mobile application. So much of the interface and features that you will get are there.
Does it run on Android and iOS?
Android and iOS, yes.
How about for Windows? Or BlackBerry Mobile?
I believe there was a version of it that ran on it, but it's not called Salesforce One. I think
Really?
it's Salesforce Classic,
Oh.
but I think they've discontinued it already.
So for all of you guys who are still on the...
But the good thing is that even though you may not have a native application for your phone, you can still access Salesforce through the web using your mobile browser, and it would render as if it's a mobile app.
Works the same way.
Yeah,
Yes.
But if they have, for example, let's say I am a service delivery company and I need an application that will get direct or push direct data to and from a Salesforce instance, can you guys develop such applications?
So we've done some projects wherein the customer, using Salesforce One, their Force.com or their app cloud software or platform, we've developed applications there that shows up on their mobile devices. That's one. And then we've also done projects where natively we've created an app that's outside of Salesforce but does integration with other things. An example of that is like a mobile app that is branded and owned by that corporation.
Okay.
So and it does have like a maps where a maps layer where they can see where their salespeople are having their meetings or visiting, things like that.
That's cool.
Or field tracking.
With that being said, for example, I have my own application. No, not my own application. I have another application. Like for example, Mailchimp. I mean, can we integrate it with the Salesforce instance?
Yeah.
Also?
So much of the applications like Mailchimp is one. Is an external system, but it does have a Salesforce app that allows you to integrate those two systems together, so that you don't have to log into two different instances. You can just click there.
Okay. Single sign-on.
Yes, yes, and for the most part, what we do in professional service, like what I said, we do consulting. When there is an existing solution already, we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah,
We would actually, just look at and recommend. What, this application does address your need. Now, In some cases, actually, we've done this already with some of our larger accounts. We're actually the ones reaching out to that third-party vendor so that the customer doesn't have to worry about that part. Because, you know, for our intents and purposes,
Talk about
kami yung nagkakaintindihan doon with the other vendor. I mean, how does it integrate to Salesforce, etc.
That's the true meaning of end-to-end. Even on the point of other providers. other
even to the point that you have to talk to the third party.
Because we have to keep in mind that we're all part of the same community of Salesforce implementers. And so we liaise with our counterparts in regional Salesforce. So, you know, if let's say, oh, we want to talk to this application vendor, instead of just sending them an email directly via their website, we actually just go to our channel partner and then we tell them, okay.
So it's a real one-stop shop, so to speak.
And so, sometimes Salesforce does bring in other partners when there are large, you know, even other Salesforce implementers on certain clouds. You know, we work together.
It's very great.
Do you also make recommendations on whether, for example, I have a solution and I want it compatible with Salesforce. So I may not necessarily be a Salesforce user, but I have an app that I think can be integrated with Salesforce. Can you also help them?
Yeah, integration is a two-way street, of course. So Salesforce doesn't have any issues with integration, but it's a question of, okay, so what work do we need to do on the other application to make sure that we can integrate with you? So sometimes they may have to build their APIs and their services so that we can talk to them, can connect to them.
But it doesn't really mean that you can always integrate with other apps. I mean,
that's there are some.
There's some.
Depending.
Are there compatibility issues that you like to?
In terms of compatibility, not that much. We've never run across that.
Unless it's a mainframe.
Well,
legacy systems.
Except in cases where there's regulatory issues.
Okay.
So that will be some of the barriers that they get.
How about for times when I might be thinking of there's a new version of Salesforce? Will the solution, will the software that IPC Professional Services develop, will it still be relevant, or do I need to also upgrade that?
So that's an interesting point because like what I mentioned, Salesforce does release 3 times, do major release 3 times a year. No? So every year they update their APIs, and during that time naman, they provide you with months ahead of notices.
Okay.
No
surprises.
So that there's no surprise. So because you will get, as an, like say every organization naman of a Salesforce customer does have a nominated administrator. So that administrator gets notification that, you know, we're set to release this major release in the next couple of months. We will be doing a preview of this in your sandbox. So any applications that you may have customized or developed, you can test it there. But we've never run across a situation where we have to redo our work. Because again, that's what the certification actually brings. Because you're well familiar with the governor limits, just the, you know, what the system can do, cannot do, what are the boundaries. Anytime that they make major release, you're still within that boundary.
So it's somewhat future-proof. So
yes.
Okay. Are there things that we are looking at in the future when it comes to professional services at IPC?
Of course, there are several initiatives, and one of that is going to be, you know, what will be the key focus for our group, and you know, we would like to focus on field services. And you know, maybe I'd like to talk about CPQ as well, or CPQ stands for Configure Price Code. It's a very powerful application solution, if you will, that sits on top of your Salesforce. It is part of Salesforce that allows you to, you know, make sure that your sales organization is tight. You know, I mean, if you have a very lean sales team, you know, I mean, let's ask this question: how long does it take you to send a quotation?
I can tell you. A long time.
So,
sometimes the client is waiting for it. All of the data is already compiled. But it's the clerical process that takes so much of the time, right, Jumpy?
Yes. So a lot of that can be improved by, you know, using a solution called CPQ. So you know, in less than 5 minutes, you can actually configure a product, or configure a bundle. With, you know, it could be hundreds of SKUs.
So You're able to capture and mine those
Yeah.
information without
Yeah.
having to log into to Twitter itself or to Facebook.
Your
directly.
system, your Salesforce logins to Twitter, but everything else is done by their own access to Salesforce.
So they
Yeah.
built a complete ecosystem,
Yeah.
and your guys make sure that that ecosystem exists, right? So
Mm-hmm.
very very powerful
Tool,
group and
yeah.
tool in terms of maximizing the potential of any company.
Yeah, Salesforce and IPC Professional Services is greatly a good tandem for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about tandem, how can they reach you?
So I mentioned earlier that you can contact us through sales team at ipc.ph.
Okay.
Specifically, we also have our group mail, SFDC Consulting, at
SFDC
ipc.ph.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they cannot reach you to Facebook, right?
I don't have a Facebook.
How about Twitter?
I do.
Okay. So there. Any parting words, Sir Carlo?
So I guess that's a very interesting discussion
Yeah.
we had about Salesforce.
Right.
I guess one of the things that a lot of organizations out there are very much open now to spending money in helping or in making sure that their business improves.
Yeah.
And regardless of what technology or solution you use, just make sure that you're talking to the right person or the right group that has your interests at heart, and they're not just there to make sure that they sell or they push the product.
Collaborative.
You also, as a smart customer, as a smart consumer, you also have to make sure that you challenge as well, because it's one of those things that both parties would actually benefit from. I mean, kami in our group, we very much welcome customers that are challenging our ideas because it allows us to improve.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are trailblazing them in getting these things all together. And again, we'd like to thank you, Carlo,
Thank you,
for
sir.
gracing
Thank you very
this
much. Thank you very much for having me.
Takeout Cloud webcast. And
To know more about our Salesforce and IPC Professional Services, just go to ipc.ph/Salesforce. And to watch this episode again, you may go to thinkoutcloud.ph.
again, this is Ace.
And I'm Jumpy. See you again on our next Think Out Cloud webinar and webcast series. Goodbye.
If you like what you've seen, you may also watch our previous Think Out Cloud episode.
Go to www.thinkoutcloud.ph and share it to your friends.